it was really a big success because we said, okay, we want to have a sort of Dragon's Den setting, but then not the
Yeah.
Dragon's Den,
Mm-hmm.
not where you have very tough questions, that founders really feel a bit not confident on stage. So we
Uh-huh.
really wanted to put the founders in their best area, give them the best position on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to make sure that they really got an investment when they left the room.
Welcome to Women Disrupting Tech. My name is Dirk Jan Hupkes, and on this podcast I give the women who work in tech the platform they need to inspire and empower each other. Join me on a journey into the world of entrepreneurship, funding, biases and role models to discover the strategies for success in the tech industry. In other words, how women can disrupt tech. Are you ready to listen? Hey, welcome back to Women Disrupting Tech, and thank you for tuning in to episode 99. As we get closer to episode 100, I wanted to return to the original theme of the podcast, closing the gender funding gap. And who better to do that with than a woman who has seen both sides of the investment table, Laurie Lancee. Laurie is the co-founder of Vini Mini, and now she's the managing director of the Angel Initiative, an organization that brings female angel investors together to back female-led companies. In this episode of Women Disrupting Tech, Laurie and I dive deep into the magic of angel investing. We discover how Laurie's experience as a co-founder inspired her to become an angel investor, how the Angel Initiative makes investing in female-led ventures accessible even when you don't have millions of euros or dollars lying around, and how achieving the mission of funding at least 25 female-led startups in 2025 means working both ends of the investment table. Whether you're an investor, founder, or future angel, this episode will make you rethink the questions you ask and the future you're helping to build. So, when you're ready to listen and learn how the Angel Initiative is closing the gender funding gap, please welcome to Women Disrupting Tech, Laurie Lancee. Laurie Lancee, welcome to Women Disrupting Tech. Good to have you. Question that I always start with is how you got into your current position as managing director of the Angel Initiative.
Well, Dirk Jan, great to be here. I started actually my career in finance at big corporates. And after that, I founded my own company. And when I founded my own company, Vini Mini. I also had to go fundraising. And I really thought, okay, with my background, financial background, with such a great idea,
Mhm.
preventing food allergies, it's going to be so easy to raise funds. But actually, it was quite tough. It was very tough. And for me, that really was an eye opener to see how difficult that was. In the end, we actually we managed to raise funds, and the Angel Initiative was one of our investors. And I joined the board actually last year already. And I think it's just so important, such an important foundation that I thought, okay, I want to be part of this and even put more time into that. So that's why I became a managing director recently.
Okay. So what made it tough to do the fundraising? What was tough about it and what made it extra tough?
Yeah, well, when I first started, I thought it, like I said, it was going to be very easy.
Mhm.
Really, I thought, okay, financial background with an idea that is prevention. I thought it's going to be piece of cake. But first of all, it was not. First of all, to understand where you have to go to which funders for your proposition.
Mhm.
It was not per se a B2B proposition. So, yeah, that already makes it quite difficult. A very early stage. So, yeah, what kind of traction can you show? Prevention actually turned out to be very difficult to sell to investors because, yeah, of course, they prefer to have something that you can see straight away the result.
Yeah,
So,
they
I think
prefer the
those
painkillers.
Exactly, exactly. So in the end, it turned out, yeah, it turned out to be much more difficult than expected. And then, of course, we were a female-led team, so two female founders. My
Hmm.
co-founder, also a woman. Yeah, I mean, of course, you never know how it would have been if there would have been a male founder.
Hmm.
But yeah, we've had some experiences that it really showed to us that it was going to be more difficult to find investors because we were women. For example, we hired a man in our team, actually more as a salesperson,
Hmm.
and we both signed up for a big event for investors, a big fair for investors and founders.
Yeah.
So, and we both of us subscribed, me as a CEO and he as a sales director. And actually, the invitations went to him from investors instead of to me. So to me, that already showed like, okay, that's quite weird that the invitation don't go to the founder, but it goes actually to the man in the team. So to me, that's one of the signs, for
Yeah.
example, that it was quite might have made it more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite odd that you did you
Exactly.
ever talk to the investors about it?
Well, I think in the end, investors that did this
Yeah.
thing and actually went to the sales guy instead of me were also not the investors that we were actually looking for. So no, to be honest, no. If it would have been a live communication, of course, then I would have said something. But no, I never confronted them with this. Maybe I should have actually.
I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's something that always makes me really curious about why people behave in a certain way. That's yeah, maybe that's also my brain. So you had a financial background. In the end, that did that make becoming a founder easier for you?
Yes and no. I think yes, because yeah, some things are just easier to grasp. Like, okay, setting up your financial plan. How do you do that? Where I mean, cash flow. I can see from other founders, it's quite difficult sometimes to understand. Okay, what is a P&L? What is a balance sheet? What is a cash
Hmm.
flow? And how are these interacted? So I think that that makes it easier.
Hmm.
At the same time, yeah, I was a business controller in my previous life, let's say,
Hmm.
maybe also too cautious in business planning, so not ambitious enough. So always very, making different scenarios and very cautious in that sense. And
Hmm.
maybe that's also not what investors are looking for, but they're looking for more ambitious big plans instead of more cautious and more business scenarios than the big numbers.
Okay.
Could be, I think, that could be
They
also a downside of it, and that you think about it too much, maybe as a financial, that you really overthink things. And I think as a founder, sometimes you just need to go and do it. So that's something also I had to change my mindset a bit, yeah, in order to
okay. So
be
that
able to
that
do that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was the change that you did have to make to
Yes.
adopt more to a sort of hockey stick expectation.
Exactly, because that's very different from the way VCs think, is very different from an economic approach, basically. So I think that's can go against you.
Yeah. So now you're the managing director of the Angel Initiative. Um, what does out of curiosity, what does that mean? What does it mean in daily life for you?
Yeah, so the Angel Initiative is a foundation.
Hmm.
So they have a board of members, of course. Next to that, they have a managing director now appointed. It's the first time that there is actually a managing director appointed. So
Hmm.
it's not that it's really set in stone what
Oh,
my
you have.
daily activities are, but I have a clear mission on what I want to achieve,
Hmm.
and that's
Which
first
is.
of all, which is to get to 100 members, so 100 female angels this year.
Hmm.
So that's really my goal. And yeah, secondly, to help at least 25 founders in this year, female-led startups with funding. So I think that's a clear mission that I have. And in order to do so, yeah, we need, because we are also a foundation, we need to have sponsors, partners to being able to do that, because our membership fees are quite low, because we want everyone to be able to become an angel investor and join us. So that's why we really made this decision to have low membership fees.
Okay. So, just for clarity's sake, the Angel Initiative focuses on female led companies, right?
Yeah, so yes, so what we focus on is really to actually get more female investors. So that's
Hmm.
what we aim for
Hmm.
in order to get more female-led startups funded. And by female-led startups, I mean 25% of the cap table needs to be owned by women. So it's also diversity.
Okay.
It's not only women, but at least 25% of the cap table needs to be in the hands of a woman. Yeah.
Okay. So they need to have a female co founder at least.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So you want to attract female investors. What makes female investors different from male investors? And maybe split this into A as, let's say, an investor, and B as also from your own experience.
No, it's a good question, because it sounds a bit exclusive actually. So only women can be part of the Angel Initiative, and why are we doing that? And because our goal is in the end also to close the gender funding gap. So why are we also not inviting men to join? But I think there is a clear reason for that, and that's really because at the moment there are just not enough female investors. If you look at almost every cap table, they're all dominated by men, and out of own experience from Vini Mini, we see that women tend to invest in other propositions than men, and
Mhm.
also tend to invest more in women than men.
Why
So
is that?
I think in the end it is, well, first of all, the sort of products that female-led companies are more likely to be in. So in the sector, a lot of them are in impact, are in health. A femtech proposition, for example, yeah, if you have a femtech proposition, it speaks more to women than to men. So it's more likely that you get female investors than male investors. Consumer products also, female angels are more interested in consumer products than male investors. That's from experience that we have. So I think there's a different appetite with female investors than with male investors, and at the same time there's just not enough female investors. So I think there's the two elements that we really want to step into, and we really say, okay, at this moment that's really needed to give extra attention to female investors, as well as there's a lot of propositions and a lot of programs ongoing that put a lot of effort into female founders. We
Mhm.
really want to put the effort into female investors. And then, of course, the other hand is the startups itself, where we also really want to focus on the female-led startups for obvious reasons, that they really, I mean, the funding gap, right? So that there's
Yeah.
just a very small piece of funding going to women. And it's not a personal, well, of course, yeah, it is personal because I'm a woman and I've experienced it myself, and I really want to do something about it.
Uh-huh.
But I have three sons here at home, so I'm not against men or something,
Nah,
absolutely
no,
not. But
no.
I think at this moment this is something that we need to pay extra attention to in order to get benefits from it later on, let's say.
What type of investors do you attract currently of those 100 members that you have right now? For instance, are there many former founders in there in that pool, or former
Yeah,
even current entrepreneurs
yeah,
in terms of paying it
well,
forward?
yeah, we are not at 100 yet, unfortunately. So that's my goal my aim for this year. But indeed, what we have, the pool that we have right now, and what I'm also looking for, could be basically everyone, because I really believe that everyone at a certain level can bring impact and can bring in network knowledge to founders. So, for example, we have some actual entrepreneurs that are still running a startup by themselves. So
Mhm.
they are not exited founders. We have some exited founders as well, but we also have people from the corporate world, because they bring different value. As for example entrepreneurs, right? So we really try to get a mix of different people in. And
Mhm.
right now, I'm really looking at structuring the investment committees and really finding also the gaps of expertise that we're missing, and then actively reaching out to find out angels that can fill those gaps. For example, right now, we're looking for someone really experienced in retail,
Mhm.
because that can add value to companies that really have retail propositions, to open their network, to help them with getting prepared to get into retail. It's a specific knowledge, network, and expertise that such an angel can bring. So that's how we are currently structured. But also, for example, VCs, that want to spend their own money, let's say, and bring their expertise, they can also join. Yeah, so it's really different kind of people, because our tickets are really low. You can start investing already from 2.5K. So it's very low ticket size.
Yeah, very low threshold also.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, 2.5K, then let's say that would equate to having about 50 to 100K investable resources? Question mark?
As we as an angel initiative,
No,
you
no,
mean?
no. I mean for a
Ah,
person who
for
wants to
nah,
try. As a,
we
how
yeah
much
we
how many percent do you think is okay to put into, let's say, high risk, but also potentially really high return startups?
Yeah, so what we yeah, so 2.5K we say as a minimum
Yeah,
to start investing in one startup. And we have also the criteria that you spend 20K in the next 5 years on startups.
yeah. Okay.
So basically we are also doing a training to our members to say, okay, how can you, if you look at your money, right, how can you invest, how does your portfolio look like? So really look at portfolio management as well. And you see, I mean, if you want to invest in startups, you should invest in more than one to also spread your risks. So you also should
Mm-hmm.
think about that, right? That you not put everything into one startup, but that you spread it over more than one startup. But yeah, I mean, I would say that you should keep at least 6 months of runway for yourself before starting to invest, even, so that you know, so
Okay.
as cash on the bank, let's say. So that's
Yeah.
something that we tend to say, and we always, of course, explain that it's very high risk, and yeah, that it's really extra money that you otherwise would spend on I don't know, a holiday or something like that, that you're
Mm-hmm.
now going to invest really in startups. that's
Okay.
that's that's something. And yeah, and that it could happen that you lose your money, and it's in it for the long term as well, so you cannot get it back if you need it. So that's something that's important for angels to understand. Yeah.
Okay. So these, let's say, I start investing with 2,500 or so. Uh, that's money that is going to be gone for 10 years or so. Is
Yeah.
it structured in a
Yeah.
fund, or is it separate per or
Yeah.
whatever you agree with the startup? How does that
Yeah,
work?
so no, good question. So indeed, the first part, yeah, it's gone for the long term. So you have to really expect that it's gone for the next 5 to 10 years. So you really invest in a startup until they're gonna make an exit, right? So that's the time that you're actually in a startup. So I think that's a bit of the time frame you were thinking about.
But is this on a deal by deal basis that you agree on this, or is this is more like a fund structure, like you invest in a fund and then that fund invests in startup?
Yeah, no, no, good question. No, we really decided to do it on a case by case basis.
Uh huh.
Really, angels can really decide by themselves in which startup they're investing, instead of investing an X amount in a fund. And actually, the investment committee is taking that and investing it into different startups. So it's really on a case by case basis. And also, it could be that one time you invest 10K, another time you invest 2.5K. So really depending on the need of the startup, and yeah, and your match as an investor with this specific startup.
And that match is then determined by, do I understand the business case, etc. Do I think this is an appealing proposition?
Yes, so our members get a training in which we actually ask the members to make their investment thesis, meaning, okay, let's think about in which sector you want to invest in, how much your ticket size is
Mm,
going to be, yeah? So how is your
mm,
gonna portfolio is going to look like, but also things like what is the added value of you as an angel? So what are you bringing to a startup, right?
yeah.
Because with angel money, it's not just money. You also bring something extra than money, right? So that's also an important part of it.
Yeah, okay. So that's why you're also looking for the person with retail experience. Does this, by the way, have
Exactly.
to be a woman? Yes, I think.
Yes.
Also, as an investor now, I think you've seen a couple of pitches, at least at an event we're both at, Femstart, her Capital Connection. You should saw at least five, and probably more
Yeah.
even. What makes what makes pitches of female founders different? And are they different, in fact, from men? How they pitch?
Well, no, I actually don't think they should be different. The pitches between men and women, maybe they are different, but I think in the end you want to hear the same thing from a founder, and
Yeah.
that is their mission and the reason why they started with their startup and why they are solving this big problem that they see and why they have the solution for this problem. And I
Mm.
think that should be the story of both, basically. But what you see is that sometimes female founders are less confident on stage. And that's very generic what I'm saying now, because of course it's not always like that. And there's also male founders who don't like to be on stage, but it really depends on the setting that you're at, because also from my own experience, if you're the only woman in the room and you're talking to a whole big room of only male investors in front of you,
Huh?
that's not a nice place to be at, because you feel different. So it's nicer if it's a bit mixed and you
Yeah.
see more people like yourself. And that could and that's not only men women, but that's always the case. So I think that's why women tend to be more nervous than men on stage, because yeah, that setting is just different. And I think with Her Capital Connection, that was really a nice scene for female founders, because there were almost only women. I know you were also there, Dick Jan, but I think you felt yeah, a bit lonely there. But right, there were almost only women.
I'm used to being the only or one of the few men in the room, so
Yeah.
that part I've left behind me. But yeah, to your point, there were not a lot of men in the room, and one of the men who was in the room even left. He was the deputy mayor of
Yeah,
Amstelveen, I
yeah, he
think.
had to, yeah, of
Anyway, he
Amstelveen,
had to
yeah,
leave.
yeah.
But tell me a bit more about how this event came into existence, because this was something you did together with Femstart, I think.
Yeah, yeah, we really wanted to have an event where everything came together. So we really said, okay, we want to really want to have a big event where we put the learning element in place, where we have all the founders, that we work together with other players in the ecosystem, and that's why the Angel Initiative got together with Femstart.
Hmm.
Femstart is really focusing on educating female entrepreneurs. So they're basically a bit on the other side than us. And we are really bringing the female angels. So we partnered up together. And actually, then also Female Ventures, another partner, came along, as well as Rockstart. And we it was hosted by KPMG, and indeed Amstelveen sponsored the event. So there were a lot of different players from the ecosystem. There were also different workshops done by other players. Yeah, it was really a big success, because we said, okay, we want to have a sort of Dragon's Den setting, but then not the Dragon's Den, not where you have yeah, very tough questions, that founders really feel a bit yeah, well, not confident on stage. So we
Uh-huh.
really wanted to put the founders in their best area, give them the best position on stage, and we wanted to make sure that they really got an investment when they left the room. And with Dragons Den, for example, you see that a lot of time, yeah, okay, yeah, we will invest, sounds really good, and then afterwards they start talking about conditions, and then actually no, it's not a fit, and in the end they don't get an investment at all. So we really committed upfront to say, okay, we are going to invest at least 125K in these 5 startups. So we really selected, well, we matched the angels to do this commitment. And then, we got actually 70 submissions. So we had a big team doing the due diligence, and then in the end selected these 5 startups.
But so how did you do the selection for, because you had 70 application and you wanted to have like five
Yeah.
founders on stage. How did that process go? How did you do the due diligence?
Yeah, so we had a team of the Angel Initiative actually looking into the due diligence, and we really looked at different aspects. Of course, the usual aspects in angel investing, which I think the most important is the team. So, who is the founder? Who is the founding team? How does the rest of the team look like? And are they the right team, the right people to execute their plan? And of course, the mission, the vision of the company. What are they trying to achieve? Which problem are they solving? Is it a nice to have, or is it really a must have? The problem that they're solving, and are they really offering the solution to fix this problem? And next to that, of course, the market. How big is the market? Is it growing? Is there potential? What does the competition look like? That's also an aspect that we are really looking at from an angel perspective. And of course, attraction. Some of them were really pre-revenue, so it doesn't per se have to be revenue, but at least something that they could show that there is really a demand, an appetite from the market for their product. I think those were some of the key elements. And next to that, we were trying to make a diverse group of people on stage, and also took in the had in the back of our minds that we wanted to also give people the opportunity that not per se would get a VC investment, for example. So not the usual suspects, let's say. And that of course can be quite difficult, because you see that of the 70 applicants, a lot of them were held, because health is something that a lot of women are in. So then, yeah, you can see also in the end, 5 finalists. Yeah, a lot of them were also in health. That is just a one-on-one reflection of actually the number of applicants.
Oh, okay. So the population was also mostly
Exactly.
health related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had Divertje on the podcast earlier, and she was
Yeah.
one of the.
Daiko.
In
Yeah.
fact, I think she raised the biggest amount
Yeah.
of them all.
She did.
But
Yeah.
what triggered me to ask about her capital connection is also because what I saw happening during the event, that actually upfront, you, I think initially you started with 100K as a sort of symbolic amount, and then it went up to 125. But I think in the end it was one in the 170, 175
Yeah.
range, I think,
Yeah.
even that was invested in these
Yeah,
startups.
yeah, that was just really great indeed. Yeah, yeah, good that you mentioned it, because indeed we committed upfront to 125 actually
Hmm.
with our angels. But during the event, the pitches were just so great, really thanks to the founders, just great
Hmm.
founders. So
Yeah.
during the event, the angels actually said, wow, this is just so great. I also want to invest in this startup, and actually also in this one. And so we went up from 125 to 175. And after the event, we even got more angels coming in, and they say, wow, this is so great. We still want to get in. So now we're almost at 200. So we really went from 125 to 200. Yeah, which is just, I mean, it sounds like a small amount, 200K, but just to start with is just great. And
Yeah,
that's
but it's
really my
almost
goal.
doubling.
Exactly. So, right. So that's, yeah, my goal is really to double it again and to double it again. So, yeah, this year we should really try to raise to double this amount at least. So,
Yeah,
so
start
that's
with
really,
200.
exactly. And then maybe go to 400 or 500. I think that's what we really need to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
So we talked about the financial part of investing as an angel. What makes it fun?
Yeah.
What makes it interesting? What makes it you happy and makes other investors happy about it?
Yeah. Yeah. First, on my on a personal note, um, yeah, if you look, for example, at her capital connection, and you see the founders there and what kind of problems they are fixing, and it's just great. It's just, yeah. I mean, you want to be part of it. If you hear them talking, and if you feel their passion, and you hear what big of a problems they are solving, yeah, then you really want to be part of it, and you actually can be part of it by investing. And like I said, not only the financials, but also your network, your expertise, bringing more on the table than just the money, and really be, like one of our angels is always saying, be their biggest ambassador. I think
Uh-huh.
that really is just great that you can be part of, of such a great idea, initiative, helping to fix a big problem. So for me personally, that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And you see with all different angels, some of them are really investing only in impact, or only in femtech, or that everyone has their own mission, vision, and their own investment thesis. but
Mhm.
but in the end, we also say, an angel and a founder, there needs to be a match between them. So it's not only money, but you can also have fun with each other, and have a drink together, and also go through the difficult times together. So I think that's also something that, that that is really nice if you have a good investor as a founder, and vice versa.
So I was wondering, so you did the event, her capital connection, you're basically building a community of female investors. What so far has been the feedback from founders and investors on the Angel Initiative?
Yeah, what we see from founders is that they're really looking for female investors. So basically, yeah, we have a lot of submissions, pitch submissions of female-led startups because
Also
they,
after the event?
yeah, also after the event. So yeah, so we are planning on our next pitch event actually in May already, to showcase other selected founders, not as big as her Capital Connection,
Hmm.
but yeah, to make sure that we keep on investing in those founders. So yeah, the feedback so far from founder perspective is good. We invested in 8 startups so far.
Hmm.
And yeah, we really get positive feedback from them in the sense that they also say, yeah, they really help us with different matters, with fundraising or finding other investors, but also with their operational plan, scaling with the team. So on different perspectives, and of course, male angels do the same. So I'm definitely not saying that male angels don't do that, but that's the feedback we get from our founders, and also from well, we have a lot of interested women that want to become angels because they just think it's something they never thought of angel investing as something that would be possible for them, because a lot of people think you need to have 1 million euros, or they're afraid because they don't know how to do it, and they really want to help using their network and their capital and their resources to help those founders to grow. So we really see a lot of positive energy also from that side.
Hmm.
So I think that's great. And I think there's just a lot of initiatives ongoing. I mean, even so, like your podcast, and also other initiatives like Femstart, Women in VC, which all are really focusing on this, on closing this gender funding gap. So I think you see, yeah, in the whole ecosystem that there's a lot of interest and things going on, and that it really has momentum right now to grow.
If I can take that a bit further, so let's say that the Angel Initiative becomes wildly successful. What does startup investing look like in 10 years?
Yeah, I think when we would be really successful, and we really managed to get a lot of members in, we really managed to fund a lot of female founded startups. Really, in the end, I really hope that in 10 years' time, the ancient initiative is not needed anymore, or it is needed in the sense that it's just angels investing in founders, and we get rid of the female
Yeah.
part, because that's you know right now they need over attention, but I
Hmm.
really hope that in 10 years time that's not needed anymore, and that we really can stop with having female only events and female only communities, but we really have a more diverse landscape. And that's yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Okay. So to make it more diverse, but also in the end, make the Angel Initiative obsolete.
Yeah, well, yeah, it sounds it
Well,
sounds a bit.
in terms of the founding of only women.
Yeah, yeah, and also only women investors. I think if we
Yeah.
have fixed both sides, and we
Hmm.
really have a sort of more equal ecosystem, yeah, that then let's keep investing in startups, but let's get rid of indeed the female part of it. I think that's what will be the end goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you want to get men on board on this?
And how do you
Because in the
mean
end,
that?
well, in the end, if you want to make it obsolete in its current form, at some point you also want to make it normal for men to invest in women.
Yeah, definitely. And what we do right now
Well,
is that we work together with partners already,
hmm.
for example, to co-invest,
Hmm.
so that you really co-invest together in female-led startups. Like I said, we invest in diverse teams, at least 25% owned by a woman. So it doesn't per
Hmm.
se have to be female only. And you can imagine that at one point, when the female angel community is big enough, yeah, then you can start opening it up also for men. Of course, there's already a lot of communities where they also have male angels on board. So
Mhm.
right now we really want to focus first on getting those female angels in, and then we can work together with those other communities that are already existing.
So I'm on a mission to make myself obsolete. So by 2032, inclusion in tech and also funding of female founded startups is considered normal. Let's say you had the mic in front of 1,000 tech founders and VCs. What would you tell them to do differently?
I would really tell them that female founders that they should be ambitious enough. Let's put it like that. They shouldn't be afraid of getting funding and also get funding of men and women. It doesn't matter. And I think to male investors, I would say it's also invest in things that you don't know. And maybe with every question that you ask, think for yourself, is this also a question that I would ask a male founder? So if you
Yeah.
ask a question to a female founder, just think okay, is this also a question I would ask a male founder, or is this now my mind and asking a different question? And maybe not only male investors, but also female investors, the same thing. Because in the end, there's also different questions asked by female investors to female founders and to male founders. So I think just to keep that in the back of your mind when you ask a question, I think that's something
Yeah.
I would say.
So really be aware of your bias.
Yeah, and it's difficult because everyone has it. But if you really think of it in such a practical way that before you ask the question, that you really think, okay, is this question relevant for everyone? Would I ask the same question to everyone? Then you really start thinking like, okay, well, maybe actually not. And then, everyone has it. So then you start thinking, okay, maybe I shouldn't ask the question or ask it differently or ask it also to the other person.
Yeah,
I think that's
sometimes that is actually also a solution to start asking the same question also to the men.
exactly can also be.
So, Laurie Lancee, thanks very much for an amazing conversation.
Thank
If
you.
people want to learn more about you and about the Angel Initiative, where would you like to send them?
Yeah, they can go to theangelinitiative.nl,
Yeah,
theangelinitiative.nl. That's our website. And you can also learn more on how to become an angel investor or learn more as a founder on how to submit your pitch deck. And you can also contact me at Laurie at angelinitiative.nl, or you can look me up at LinkedIn, Laurie Dansé, and drop me a note, and I will get back to you.
cool. And when is the event you were talking about in May? When is it exactly?
It's yeah, it will be announced later, but I can share with you already. So this is really fresh of the press, and it's going to be on the Thursday, 15th of May.
And we'll include the links in the show notes. Of course, if the news is out officially, then we'll also include a link to the event in the show notes. With that, Laurie, thanks very much for an amazing conversation. Listeners, thank you
Thank you,
very much for
Dirk.
listening. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to episode 99 of Women Disrupting Tech with Laurie Lancee on how the Angel Initiative is closing the gender funding gap. Laurie and I hope that you found our conversation interesting and inspiring. And if you'd like to learn more about or connect with Laurie and the Angel Initiative, please check out the links in the show notes. As usual, you can find the show notes at Women Disrupting Tech, all one word, .blog. When you enjoyed listening to this episode, please follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or YouTube. Following Women Disrupting Tech is a great zero cost way to support my guest in making inclusion in tech the new normal by the end of 2032. You can also follow us on social media. To follow us, check out at The True Story Company on LinkedIn and Instagram and at Women Disrupting Tech on YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Substack. And if you don't want to miss out on episode 100, please subscribe on Substack for the latest on Women Disrupting Tech. Finally, if you want to connect with me, you can reach me via Dirkjan at womendisruptingtech.blog or on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, simply search for my name, Dirk-Jan Upkes, and you'll find me. With that, I wish you a wonderful day. I hope to see you in episode 100. And until then, keep being awesome.